Well, it's so somebody sent me a question. Okay, let me read it. Hey, Elegbete, how are you? Please, of all the eight teams that are remaining in the UEFA Champions League, which two teams do you think will make it to the finals? Mm. Alabo, that question is hard to answer because, to be very honest, all of the teams that are remaining in the competition are good enough to make it to the finals. That's just a fact. Okay, there's not one team that is remaining now that is not good enough, but all the teams have played the first leg of their quarterfinal matches, meaning that some teams are in a very tight situation. No team is out. Even the Dortmund that lost 4-0 are not mathematically out. They are still within a shot of performing a miracle and coming back and, fighting for their space. All it takes is one early goal in the first 2-3 minutes, and a second goal, and then a third, and then a fourth, and then a fifth. Somebody will say, and Barcelona will be sleeping. Why Dortmund chances are very slim is the fact that 90% of the game, Barcelona will control possession. So it is hard, whether you have the yellow wall or you have black wall or green wall, whatever wall you have, the wall of Berlin or whatever wall. And again, Barcelona can afford to rest players in the La Liga, even though they are top and the gap is not much. They can afford to rest players and then prepare for Dortmund. Dortmund are in 8th position in the league. They can also afford to rest players. But whatever happens, they are playing against Bayern Munich, who also lost to Inter Milan. I'll come to that later. Meaning that they wouldn't want to continue the sequence of losses. They want to try to halt it by playing a strong team. Sergio Gurese can hurt you any day. They have too many chances, snapshots here and there. But that's because you play against Barcelona, you will not have the ball. And if you don't have the ball, how do you create the chances that you need to hurt your opponents? Okay, that's one thing that you could say they actually were out of the competition. And then people will say, okay, if Dortmund are out, why is Madrid not out? To be very honest with you, and I'm going to dive deep into this Madrid game with Arsenal. The thing with Arsenal is no matter what they do, I think that, and I put it on Twitter, there are separate rules for Arsenal and separate rules for every other football club. And I can understand it's going to be 20 years next year that Arsenal moved from Highbury to the Emirates. And in that 20 years, the only thing that they've won is 4 or 5 FA Cup, meaning that it has not really gone well, the move. And as we talk, the Emirates Stadium, for the 19 years now, they will start having leaking roof already. We start having, the restaurant, the bars, they are not up to date compared to what you have at Spurs, at Man City, at Aston Villa, at West Ham, Liverpool recently renovated their stadium. That's a different show that we'll talk about facilities. But I'm just saying, so in about 20 years, Arsenal have not won anything. So it's okay to drag them. But I think that for those of the people who always like to analyze, I'm not talking of fans. Now, fans will always banter. Even if you win everything, they'll banter it. But I'm talking about those who like to analyze. I mean, be fair with the analysis, be objective enough to say, okay, yes, Arsenal have had injury on the merit of each individual season. When Jurgen Klopp was chasing Man City, everybody said, oh, Klopp did well. He got 90-something points, the first team to get 90-something points, and they win the title. But then when it is Arsenal, so they are bottling. You can say all you like, but if you look at Arsenal as a football club, you would agree with me that they've gone from the never-do-wells that they are to a threat that everybody wants to play now, and you buckle up. You come up ready. My only problem with Arteta and Arsenal currently is, how is it that you play so well against the big teams? You beat Paris Saint-Germain, the French champion, 2-0. You played against Italian. The only team that beat them is the Italian champion, beat them on penalty. You played against the champions of England. You beat them 5-1 at home. You played against PSV, champions of Netherlands. You beat them 7-1 or so. And then when it's time to play against West Ham, Fulham, Everton, you struggle. Why is that so? Arteta needs to find a way to play against the low block team, because what has happened is that any team that is bold enough to come all out attacking Arsenal Kushapa Woto, as they say it in pidgin English, obviously. So Arteta needs to find a system that work against low block team. That's the thing that he's not been able to crack. But let's move away from that one. When you look at the Real Madrid team, in the first leg, I was bothered because this is Real Madrid. They are the king of the Champions League. Arsenal does not have a striker. Bukayo Saka is just coming back from injury. Martinelli also just came back from injury, not playing at his very, very best. Odegaard is not his best this season. The team is not doing well. And then going into that first leg, Gabriel Magalhaes, who is the best player of the team this season, is not playing. Or probably you could say him and Thomas Partey have not really done the very best to the way you expect them. Mikel Merino, yes, have done well by scoring a few goals, but it's not a center forward. So you could worry. But after that kind of classic virtuoso performance that they put up, dominant performance, command performance that they put up, Thomas Partey was the commander-in-chief in midfield. We couldn't find Luka Modric, couldn't find Valverde, who ended up picking up a red card. Then you look at the attack of Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo, and Mbappe, supported by Jude Bellingham. They were all not available. The analysis now is supposed to change, but there are a lot of people who still think, Arsenal will be beaten, they were lucky. No, when Arsenal win, it's luck. When they lose, it's their normal ways. This is how Arsenal is. They are butlers. They don't know how to play. I don't think that should be the conversation anyway. But the reason I'm very hopeful now that Arsenal will win the return leg or will go through, next week, Wednesday, is the fact that when you look at Madrid will still play Vinicius Junior, they will still play Mbappe, they will still play Rodrigo, they will still play Bellingham. Now, those 4 players out of 11, they don't track back. As much as you would expect that if they get clear-cut chances, they will score and put Arsenal under pressure. The thing is, they don't track back, meaning that the work is not difficult for the midfielders and the defenders. Arsenal is a forward-playing team. Well, they might go away in this game and decide to sit back and wait to play on the counter, but then they are a forward-playing team, meaning if you have 4 players who don't come to support your team, you're already short on numbers, and that could be a problem. If you have Alaba again playing who is not 100% fit, Alaba will know how great he is. There's nobody who can sit out there and call Alaba names or talk shit about Alaba, but yesterday's glory is not today. If yesterday's glory will make you successful today, Manchester United would still be regarded as a very great team. But you see how bad they are. Somebody will say Manchester United is in their own place and, I just throw stone on them. But that's just a fact. It's an analogy that I have to make. So nobody get covered by yesterday's glory. But then you look at the Arsenal team and you can say that if they can put even 50% of the performance that they put up at Emirates at the Santiago Bernabeu, they would go through. Now, who they meet in the next round, whether it's Paris Saint-Germain, Aston Villa, who cares? They would have to face that opposition. Aston Villa have been a boogie team for them from the very beginning when they moved into the Emirates Stadium till now. First club to score at the Emirates, first away team to score at the Emirates is Aston Villa. So it's always been a boogie team to them. Aston Villa was the reason why Arsenal were not champions last season. This season again, you see what Aston Villa have done to Arsenal. So it's hard to sit here and say Aston Villa should overturn the 3-1 deficit against Paris Saint-Germain. Luis Enrique has won the treble before as a Barcelona coach. He's looking like he's buoyed, is a different thing. What you play in the group stage or in the league phase of the competition is different from what you will play in the knockout stage. But if you want to be successful, then you play against the best teams in front of you. So if that's the team to play, so be it. But I would advise Arsenal focus on the Madrid game first. Win it before you think of who you play in the semi-finals. On the other end, Barcelona are doing well. I don't know what would happen. Bayern and Inter Milan, there's still a chance for Bayern to go through. But Inter have shown this season that they are a different kettle of fish. I think Italian football is beginning to resurrect again. If you go back to the 80s, the days of Arrigo Sacchi, Alberto Zaccaroni, Marcello Lippi, and the rest of them, there's one thing about Italian football. They are the baseline for how football tactics was drawn. I know it's moved to Spain since the advent of Pep Guardiola, and everybody wants to play the tiki-taka, but it seems like the Italians are coming back again with a different style. It's Thiago Motta's style at Bologna, even though it has not worked at Juventus yet, but it needs time to work. What Simeone Inzaghi is doing with Inter Milan deserve a lot of praise. The way they sit back, the way they press, the way they hustle, and the strikers don't press, instead it's the midfielders that press. The way they move, their transition, their movement on the field is beautiful. And I think that if they get all of that right and they pull their socks together, they will knock Vincent Kompany out. Unfortunately, they get knocked at this stage. Vincent Kompany might lose his job again, especially when you see what Hansi Flick is doing with a depth-reading FC Barcelona in Spain. You could say to yourself, what is holding Bayern Munich back? I don't know. Maybe they will give him one more season and say, okay, thank you for winning the league title. Let's see what you can do next season. Maybe he will learn from it. But I know that if Vincent Kompany loses this chance, it just might not get, a big job in the mold of the Bayern Munich anymore. So he needs to keep this job and then progress beyond this next season. Having said that, look at Dortmund chances. I think I talk about all that one and the rest of them. So we will see, how the return leg progresses. But if you ask me, I think Real Madrid are already out. I also think that Aston Villa are within a shot. They can't give it something. But then if you remember how Paris Saint-Germain played against Liverpool. This is the third English team they are playing in this season Champions League. They played against Arsenal, lost 2-0, played against Liverpool over 2 legs. Now they are playing against Aston Villa again over 2 legs. I think that they are beginning to get used to the English teams, and there's a possible meeting with Arsenal again in the semi-finals. They should be conscripted into the English Premier League if that's a joke anyway. But I think that Aston Villa within a short, but is very, very slim. They could be knocked out. Madrid are out, Dortmund are out, Aston Villa are out, but they could still wing it if they can. Unai Emery is a coach that can spring up surprise on a European night, even though he's more adapt to the UEFA Europa Cup than the Champions League. But this is an opportunity. He's making a good statement. I think that he's done very well with Aston Villa. Aston Villa is no longer a pushover team. When you look at them play, you always tell yourself that don't underrate Aston Villa. They are just a team. They are a team, not just. They are a team that can cause you problems. So when you look at Aston Villa, you look at them with respect. And when you look at the team that they have, one thing that's going for a team like Aston Villa that I have seen is the fact that one way or the other, they just kind of avoid major injuries to key players. Almost all their key players just keep playing week in, week out. Even when they get injuries or get knocked, it's not for too long. It's not surgery, not major one. So that's good for them. I just hope that, they can do something. I'm not really sure. But so if you ask me, these are my own exits. Madrid is out. Dortmund is out. Aston Villa is out. Between Inter Milan and Bayern, I don't know who's out, but one team will go out. But for the other ones, I think that Barcelona are true, Arsenal are true, and Paris Saint-Germain are true. So it is between Inter Milan and Bayern Munich that we're going to be thinking who's going to go through. But you can drop your comment in the comment section and tell me who you think will go through and who you think are out already. And then there is this massive conversation that is going on. If it comes down to Rafinha and Lamine Yamal for the Ballon d'Or, for the Ballon d'Or later this year, who do you think would win it? If it comes down to Rafinha and Lamine Yamal, that would be very, very good for Barcelona. They've been away from it since the exit of Messi from the platform. Now they are going to have 2 of their players. Hopefully, they've not been nominated. This is just me springing it up. Hopefully, 2 of their players will be among the top 3 nominated for the award this year. And if Kes not taking, it might be an all Barcelona, because you cannot take away what Robert Lewandowski is doing. So it could be the 3 of them. But for the sake of this conversation, hypothetically, let me put it out there so that they don't say that we said they've been nominated. They've not been nominated. If the choice comes down to Rafinha and Lamine Yamal, let me put context to that. Rafinha is Brazilian, so he's South American. He's also going to get the Neymar crowd, the Messi crowd, the South American crowd, the Latino crowd too. But then Lamine Yamal is Spanish. I like the way he plays with so much smile on his face. If he comes down, he will get the European vote, and then then there's the African vote, there's the Oceania vote, and all that, the blocks that are voting. But in your own opinion, if it comes down to Lamine Yamal versus Rafinha, who would pick the vote as the winner of the Ballon d'Or? You could also tell me, these two, I'm not going to get the nomination. I think this are the people that will get it. It is up to you. Once again, my name is Idafe Matthias. You love to call me the Lagos on Sports. I thought I should jump in on a few conversations. It's been a while, and thank you guys for all of you that have stayed, especially those of you who are members of the channel. God bless you. I can guarantee you now that these recordings will come up regularly. I do not have the internet and the electricity to do live stream for now, but these recordings will come in on a more regular basis. Thank you, and have for yourself a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching the channel for the very first time, and you can send me any question, and I will treat it in my next recording. Thank you.